Welcome to today's explainer. Look, if you're sick and tired of glancing at your aquarium and seeing dozens or literally hundreds of tiny pest snails crawling over every single surface, well, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're profiling the ultimate chemical-free solution to your aquarium pest problems, the assassin snail. Scientifically known as Clea helena, this is your comprehensive guide to the aquatic world's most efficient, highly specialized hitman. Let's get right into it.
Anyone who's ever poured their heart into setting up a gorgeous planted freshwater tank knows the absolute headache of a bladder snail infestation. I mean, the speed of the takeover is just staggering. One day, you spot a single tiny snail hitchhiker on a new plant, right? And then just a few weeks later, your beautiful aquascape is completely overrun. It goes from a minor annoyance to a major ecosystem imbalance in the blink of an eye. It's a serious problem, and honestly, it requires a specialized bounty hunter. Enter our specialized operative. Okay, let's dive right into how we fix this. When you're staging a cleanup for your tank, you absolutely have to get the numbers right. You can't just toss one snail in and hope for the best. The golden starting ratio for an effective, balanced cleanup crew is 1 assassin snail for every 5 to 10 pest snails. Why that specific ratio? Well, it ensures the pest population gets handled efficiently, but without your new assassins running out of food way too quickly. So, if you've got a moderate infestation in, say, a standard 20-gallon tank, you're looking at deploying a specialized task force of about 5 to 8 of these aquatic hunters to get the job done right. Section 1. Meet the assassin snail. Let's crack open the dossier on these little operatives. Originally from the slow-moving rivers of Southeast Asia, specifically across Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia, these compact hunters sport this really bold, striking yellow and brown spiral banding pattern on their shells. Looking at their physical specs, adult assassin snails are actually surprisingly small. They only reach about 0.75 to 1.25 inches in length. They've got a tightly spiraled, cone-shaped shell with 5 to 7 distinct whorls, and they live for a solid 2 to 3 years under ideal conditions. But here's a fascinating thing about their day-to-day life. Despite being highly active predators, they spend a massive chunk of their days completely burrowed in the substrate. So if you don't see them for a few days, hey, don't panic. They're just laying low, practically invisible in the sand, waiting for the perfect time to strike. And to protect themselves, they have a brilliant built-in defense mechanism called the operculum. Think of this as a highly specialized biological blast shield. It acts as a small, tough little trapdoor that completely seals off the shell opening. When an assassin snail is out on patrol and senses a larger predator nearby, it doesn't try to outrun it. It's a snail, after all. Instead, it quickly retracts its entire soft body deep into the shell and pulls this door shut tightly behind it, keeping itself completely safe. It's an almost impenetrable defense for such a small creature. So how do they actually take down their targets? Well, these guys are strictly nocturnal, which means the real work starts long after the aquarium lights go out. And they don't use sight to hunt in the dark. Instead, they track their prey via chemoreception. Essentially, they act like elite aquatic bloodhounds, literally sniffing out and following the microscopic mucus trails left behind by their prey across the substrate and up the glass. If you want to see something truly fascinating, a real insider secret here, grab a red flashlight after lights out. The red light won't disturb their natural nocturnal rhythm. Drop a few pest snails into the tank and just watch the assassins go to work, methodically tracking those trails. It's incredible. Section 2. Perfect tank setup parameters. Let's move to the setup because every great operative needs a proper safe house. For the assassin snail, stable water chemistry is absolutely the single most important factor for their survival. These parameters, non-negotiable. Temperature needs to sit between 75 and 82 degrees Fahrenheit to keep their metabolism and hunting activity up. Your pH must be neutral to slightly alkaline, sitting somewhere between 7.0 and 8.0. And crucially, your water hardness needs to be elevated, sitting at 8 to 15 DGH. Why is this so specific? Because stable, hard water is absolutely essential for healthy shell calcification. Without it, their armor literally degrades. And of course, you must maintain absolute zero ammonia or nitrites, with nitrates strictly under 30 ppm. Zero ammonia is vital here, guys. Even trace microscopic levels can severely damage their shell integrity and their internal organs. Now for the physical layout of the safe house. You're going to need a 20-gallon tank minimum if you're keeping a group of 3 to 5. This isn't just about giving them swimming room, it gives them enough territorial space to hunt and, more importantly, it maintains a sustainable prey base to actually keep them fed. But listen closely to this next part, you must use a fine sand or a very smooth gravel substrate.
Avoid bare-bottom tanks completely and get rid of the sharp gravel. Assassin snails absolutely must burrow to feel secure and to ambush their prey. Coarse or sharp substrates will physically tear their delicate soft foot tissue every time they try to dig, leading to severe stress, infection, and eventually failure of the operative.
Section 3. Feeding the perfect predator.
Look, there's a massive misconception out there that utility snails will clean up your algae or eat decaying plant matter. Assassin snails absolutely will not. They are obligate carnivores. If they aren't eating meat, they are not surviving. So here's their preferred hit list. Bladder, pond, and ramshorn snails are their absolute favorite, most vulnerable targets. They'll also hunt Malaysian trumpet snails, but just a heads up on the dynamics of that hunt, the trumpet snails have much thicker, armored shells and a tough operculum of their own. So while an assassin will go after them, the larger trumpet snails might actually put up quite a fight and successfully resist the assassination attempt.
Now, what's really interesting here is busting a massive beginner myth in the hobby. People constantly worry that once the pest snails are completely eradicated, their prized assassins will simply starve to death in a squeaky clean tank. The reality? They enthusiastically accept high-protein prepared foods. They're actually highly adaptable. Once your tank is totally clear of pests, you simply pivot their diet. You can easily keep them thriving by feeding them frozen bloodworms, sinking shrimp pellets, or high-quality bottom feeder tablets every 2 to 3 days. They will happily scavenge for this meaty food.
Section 4. Choosing safe tank mates. An operative is only as safe as the company they keep, right? When planning your safe house, most standard community fish like tetras, rasboras, and coreodoras, along with peaceful dwarf cichlids, are fantastic allies. Assassin snails move incredibly slowly, and they don't compete for territory, so peaceful fish just ignore them entirely. But you need to pay very close attention to your enemies. This is a critical warning. Pufferfish and clown loaches view your elite assassin snail as nothing more than a crunchy snack. They've got the jaw strength to crush those shells, and they will eat your assassins whole. Similarly, large, aggressive cichlids might crush them just out of territorial spite, and bottom-dwelling crayfish are highly opportunistic predators that will pick them apart. Keep these natural enemies far, far away from your hitmen. Which brings us to probably the single most common question hobbyists have. What about my cherry shrimp? Are they going to become collateral damage? Well, here's the deal. Adult neocaradinas, like your prized cherry shrimp, are generally completely safe. Assassin snails prefer significantly slower, far less reactive prey. Honestly, a well-fed assassin snail is a very lazy predator, and they'll happily ignore a fast-moving adult shrimp. However, you do have to be careful with the babies. Hungry, desperate assassins will absolutely target vulnerable, slow-moving baby shrimplets that haven't developed their quick escape reflexes yet. So the fix is easy. Keep your snails well-fed with bloodworms to drastically cut down on that risk. Section 5. Breeding and operations. Now, the main reason pest snails become such a nightmare is because they basically clone themselves and multiply explosively. But unlike those pests, assassins operate on a completely different, much more manageable timeline. Let's walk through their slow burn, gradual growth to see why they're never going to overrun your tank. First, they are dioecious. This means you need both a distinct male and a distinct female to breed, even though they look completely identical to us. Second, instead of laying massive gooey egg clutches, the female lays just a single, small, yellow, square-shaped egg capsule, usually hidden away on a hard surface or a plant stem. Third, it takes anywhere from 3 to an agonizingly long 8 weeks just for that single egg to hatch. And finally, step 4, once hatched, the microscopic babies immediately burrow deep into the sand and completely disappear. It takes them a full 6 to 8 months of growing in the substrate before they're even large enough to emerge and begin hunting effectively. It's an incredibly controlled, super slow population growth. Section 6. Avoiding common snail mistakes. We're in the final stretch here, and these are basically life-or-death facts for the animals, so definitely take note. If you want to keep your aquatic hitmen thriving long-term, you've got to avoid the 3 major pitfalls that catch so many new keepers off guard. Mistake number 1, keeping them in soft, acidic water. This actively dissolves their shell, causing fatal erosion. You can fix this instantly by adding a simple cuttlebone or a bag of crushed coral to your filter to provide that necessary calcium. Mistake number 2, expecting instant results. Remember, they hunt slowly on their own methodical schedule. You need to wait a full 4 to 8 weeks to see a massive dent in a heavy pest population. Be patient. Please do not just blindly keep adding more assassins. And mistake number 3, forgetting supplemental food. Seriously, pull out your phone right now and set a calendar reminder to drop in some bloodworms every 2 to 3 days once the pest snails are finally gone.
So, the crucial point we want you to take away today is captured perfectly in this quote from the source material. Assassin snails are the aquarium hobby's most reliable natural pest control. No chemicals, no stress, no harm to your fish. They do exactly what they're brought in to do. They work quietly and efficiently in the background, all while adding a genuinely beautiful, natural aesthetic to your aquarium substrate.
Ultimately, successfully keeping assassin snails is all about mastering the delicate balance of your tank's ecosystem. By understanding their specific biological needs, you can turn a frustrating pest problem into a genuinely fascinating daily display of natural predatory behavior. So, ask yourself, are you ready to stop fighting nature with harsh chemicals and finally let an aquatic hitman do your dirty work? If you want to recruit the perfect operative for your own tank, head directly over to the TankZen blog at tankzen.co for their full in-depth care guide and specific gear recommendations. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy fish keeping.